Do you ever feel like your life is full of problems? One after another. You fix one, and another appears. Sometimes it feels like the world is against you. You try so hard, but things keep falling apart. Maybe you lost money. Maybe you lost trust. Maybe you lost hope. And you ask yourself quietly, why does this always happen to me? But what if your problems are not here to break you? What if they are here to build you? Imagine a diamond before it shines. It's just a dark, rough stone. It becomes beautiful only after pressure, fire, and time. You are the same. Every problem is pressure that wants to shape you into something stronger. The truth is, problems never stop. They just change their clothes. When you are poor, you have money problems. When you are rich, you have peace problems. When you are single, you have loneliness. When you are married, you have responsibility. Life is not about running away from problems. It's about learning how to face them calmly and wisely. Most people never learn this skill. They panic. They complain. They waste energy thinking about what went wrong. But the secret to solving any problem starts with one simple thing: understanding. You can't fight what you don't understand. You can't heal what you don't see clearly. So, the first step is not to react. The first step is to breathe. When something goes wrong, your body becomes tight, your breath becomes short, your thoughts become heavy. You say, "This is bad. This is impossible. I can't handle this." But in that moment, your brain stops working. The mind cannot solve what the heart is screaming about. That's why calmness is power. Take a moment right now. Close your eyes. Breathe in slowly. Hold it. Breathe out. Do it again. This is how peace begins, not after the storm, but during it. When your mind becomes quiet, the problem starts to look smaller. You start to see options you never noticed before. Think of a glass of muddy water. If you keep shaking it, the water stays dirty. But if you let it stand still, the mud slowly falls to the bottom, and the water becomes clear again. Your mind works the same way. You don't need to escape your problem. You just need to let the storm inside you settle. Then you will see clearly what to do. Start using this small action every day. When something goes wrong, don't shout, don't judge, don't cry immediately. First, breathe. Second, write down what happened. When you write, your thoughts become slow, your emotions become soft, and your mind becomes sharp. The problem turns from a monster in your head into words on paper. And words can be changed. This is where real problem solving begins, with calm, with clarity, and with the quiet power of your own breath. Now that your mind is calmer, you can start to see your problem differently. When the noise inside begins to fade, something new appears: clarity. Clarity is like turning on a light in a dark room. The things that looked scary in the shadows suddenly look simple and small. But most people never turn on that light. They keep reacting instead of thinking. A problem always feels bigger than it really is because it lives inside your emotions. When you feel fear, the problem grows. When you feel calm, it shrinks. So the next step is to look directly at what is really happening, not at what you imagine is happening. There is a big difference. Take a notebook. On one page, write your problem in one short, clear sentence. Don't add drama. Don't add feelings. Just facts. For example, I don't have enough money for rent. Or I failed my exam. Or my friend stopped talking to me. That's it. One sentence. Simple truth. Now look at that sentence. Ask yourself, is this the full story? Often it isn't. You think you failed because you're stupid, but maybe you just studied the wrong way. You think you lost money because you're unlucky, but maybe you trusted the wrong person. The goal of clarity is not to blame yourself or others. It's to understand what really happened. Then write one more sentence. Why is this happening? You might not know the full answer yet, but your brain starts to search for patterns. Maybe you're repeating old habits. Maybe you're avoiding a hard truth. Maybe you're trying to control things you can't control. Don't judge yourself. Just observe. Like a scientist studying a mystery. Clarity is not emotional. It's gentle. It whispers instead of shouting. It asks questions instead of giving quick answers. That's how your mind begins to work for you instead of against you. When you stop reacting, your brain becomes creative. It starts to offer you new ideas, small steps, new ways. Here's a small practice. Whenever you feel lost, ask 3 questions. What exactly is the problem? What part of it can I control? What part must I accept? Write the answers slowly. Read them aloud. When you do this, you take your power back. Because clarity is power. When you see clearly, you stop wasting energy on things that don't matter. You stop fighting the air and start building the ground under your feet. Think of a ship lost in the fog. The captain doesn't scream at the ocean. He slows down, checks his map, listens for signals, and waits for the fog to lift. That's clarity, patience mixed with intelligence. And every problem, no matter how dark, begins to lose its power under the light of a calm, curious mind. Once you understand the problem, you can start looking for solutions. But not just any solution, the right one. And to find it, you need the next skill, breaking big problems into small, simple steps that you can handle with confidence, one piece at a time. When you finally see your problem clearly, it often looks big. It feels heavy, like a mountain standing in front of you. You might look at it and think, I can't climb that. It's too high. But here is the secret most people forget. You don't climb a mountain in one jump. You climb it step by step, one small move at a time. Every big solution begins small. Every success begins with one simple action. The human mind loves to complicate things. We think too far ahead. We imagine everything that could go wrong. And that makes us freeze. But action, even a tiny one, melts fear like sunlight melts ice. The moment you move, even just a little, your confidence grows. You stop being a victim of your thoughts and start becoming a builder of your future. Let's use an example. Imagine your problem is debt. You owe money, and it feels impossible to pay it back. When you look at the full amount, you feel panic. But what if you just focus on paying one small part this week? What if you cancel one useless expense, make one small extra payment, learn one new way to earn? Suddenly, the problem becomes lighter. The numbers don't change fast, but you do. You start to feel control returning. Or maybe your problem is English. You say, I'll never be fluent. But that's not true. You just haven't broken it into steps. You don't need to learn the whole language today. You only need to speak one new sentence today. Listen to one story. Write one paragraph. If you repeat that every day, your fluency will grow quietly, naturally, unshakably. Small steps, done daily, become unstoppable progress. This method works for any kind of problem. Write your big problem at the top of a page. Then under it, write 5 small actions you can take. Not ideas, actions. Something you can do in less than 1 hour. It could be sending an email, cleaning your desk, making a call, doing research, or asking for advice. When you write them, don't wait for motivation. Just pick one and start. Remember this, motion creates emotion. You don't wait until you feel strong to move. You move until you feel strong. The energy you want is waiting for you on the other side of action. Think of a candle in a dark room. When you light it, the darkness doesn't fight back. It simply disappears. Small steps are your candles. Each one lights a little more of the path ahead. You don't need to see the whole road to start walking. You only need to see the next few meters. So every time your problem looks too big, say to yourself, I only need one step today. Then take it. Because one step becomes 2, 2 become 10, and soon you'll look back and realize you've already climbed halfway up the mountain that once scared you. And as you climb, something else begins to happen. your mindset changes. You stop seeing problems as enemies and start seeing them as challenges, as lessons, as opportunities to grow. That shift, that quiet transformation inside your mind, is the next powerful part of solving any problem. When you start taking small steps, something subtle but powerful begins to grow inside you. It's not just progress, it's a new identity. You begin to see yourself not as a victim of problems, but as a solver of them. This change in mindset is what separates those who stay stuck from those who rise. Because life gives everyone problems, but not everyone gives life the same response. The mindset of a solver begins with one idea. Every problem has a door. It may be hidden, it may be locked, but it's there. The solver doesn't cry at the wall. He looks for the door. He experiments, tests, fails, and tries again until he finds it. Victims see walls and stop. Solvers see walls and ask, "Where's the opening?" Think of Thomas Edison, who failed thousands of times while trying to create the light bulb. A reporter once asked him, "How did it feel to fail 1,000 times?" Edison smiled and said, "I didn't fail 1,000 times. The light bulb was an invention with 1,000 steps." That's the solver mindset. He didn't take failure personally. He treated it as information, as feedback. Each mistake was not an ending, but a clue. When you start seeing your problems this way, you become calm and curious instead of angry and afraid. You begin to ask better questions. Not, "Why is this happening to me?" but "What can I learn from this?" Not "Who is to blame?" but "What can I do next?" Every question you ask your brain becomes a command. If you ask weak questions, you get weak answers. If you ask powerful questions, you get powerful solutions. Here's a small exercise you can use every time you feel stuck. Ask yourself these 3 questions. What is this problem trying to teach me? What is one thing I can do about it right now? What will happen if I do nothing? Write your answers without fear of being wrong. This process activates your problem-solving brain, the part that sees patterns, connects ideas, and invents solutions. Most people never use this part because they drown in emotion. You will not. You are learning to step back, to observe, to think clearly even in chaos. The solver mindset is built through repetition. Every time you face a problem, you are training your mind. You are building emotional muscle. At first, the muscle shakes. It feels hard. But with every problem you solve, no matter how small, your strength grows quietly inside you. Imagine your brain as a flashlight. When you focus it on the problem, everything looks dark and heavy. But when you point it toward the solution, the shadows move away. Focus is energy. Whatever you give attention to expands. So, stop feeding your fear and start feeding your creativity. And remember, every great invention, every success story, every strong person you admire, they all started by facing something that felt impossible. They didn't run. They stayed. They learned. They adapted. You can do the same. Because solving problems is not about being perfect. It's about being patient. This patience, this inner steadiness, becomes even more powerful when you add one more ingredient: the ability to stay positive while facing uncertainty. That is what keeps the solver walking even when the road is unclear, and that is where our journey now leads. When you begin to see yourself as a solver, you also begin to notice how easily other people give up. They panic, complain, or expect the world to fix things for them. But solvers are different. They carry a quiet kind of strength, calm optimism. It's not fake positivity, not a forced smile, but a deep belief that things can change, that something good can be created even from difficulty. This mindset doesn't mean you ignore pain. It means you understand that pain is part of progress. When you fall, you don't say, "I'm unlucky." You say, "I'm learning." When plans fail, you don't say, I'm doomed. You say, now I know one more way that doesn't work. That's how calm optimism transforms every failure into fuel. Think of a sailor caught in a storm. He can't control the waves, but he can control the sail. He can't stop the rain, but he can guide the direction of his boat. If he screams at the sea, he wastes energy. If he studies the wind, he survives. That's calm optimism, awareness without fear. In life, you will meet people who tell you, be realistic. What they really mean is, be afraid like me. But realism without hope kills the heart. You can be realistic and still believe in better outcomes. You can look at the truth and still choose to act with courage. The strongest people are not the ones who never doubt. They are the ones who doubt, but move anyway. Here's something practical you can do. When you face a problem, imagine two voices inside your mind. One says, this is too hard. The other says, I will find a way. Every time you listen to the second voice, even for a moment, that voice grows louder. That's how you train optimism, through repetition, through choice, through daily conversation with yourself. Write this sentence somewhere you can see it every morning. Something good can come from this. Say it when you fail. Say it when you lose. Say it when everything looks dark. It doesn't magically erase your problem, but it changes how your brain responds to it. When you believe there's a hidden door, your mind starts searching for it. When you believe there's none, your mind stops looking. Optimism creates movement. Fear creates paralysis. You can't control every result, but you can control your energy, your effort, your attitude. That's where your real power lies. Let's use another small image. Imagine you're walking through a tunnel. It's dark, cold, and silent. You start to think maybe the tunnel has no end. But if you keep walking, step by step, you eventually see a small light far away. That light grows bigger the longer you move. The tunnel didn't get shorter. Your faith carried you farther. Calm optimism doesn't mean life will always go your way. It means you trust yourself to handle it, no matter which way it goes. You start waking up with less fear and more focus. You start solving instead of suffering. And as this belief strengthens inside you, something beautiful begins to form. Resilience, the deep emotional armor that protects your peace even in chaos. Resilience is what turns small hope into lasting strength. And that is the next step on your path to mastering every problem. When calm optimism becomes part of you, you begin to grow a kind of invisible armor, resilience. Resilience doesn't make you cold or emotionless. It makes you flexible, like a tree that bends in the wind but doesn't break. The wind may be strong, but the roots are stronger. And those roots are built by everything you've already survived. Think about it. Every heartbreak, every failure, every disappointment, they all trained you. You didn't notice it, but each time you got back up, your inner roots dug deeper. That's why some people collapse under stress while others stay steady. It's not luck. It's training. Resilience is emotional fitness built over time. A resilient person doesn't say, I never fall. They say, I always rise. They don't avoid pain. They learn from it. Because life will never stop testing you. There will always be new challenges. Health, money, love, loss. You can't stop the tests, but you can prepare for them. You can build the strength to bend, to heal, to continue. Here's how resilience grows. It starts with acceptance. You stop fighting reality and start working with it. When something bad happens, instead of saying, this shouldn't be happening, you say, it is happening. Now what can I do about it? That small change turns you from powerless to powerful. Then comes perspective. Ask yourself, will this matter a year from now? Most problems feel huge in the moment, but fade with time. Perspective gives you distance. It helps you breathe. It reminds you that storms always pass, no matter how dark the sky looks right now. The final ingredient of resilience is self-trust, the belief that no matter what comes, you will handle it. You've already handled so much, remember that. Think of all the nights you thought you couldn't go on, and yet here you are, still breathing, still trying, still learning. That's resilience already living inside you. Try this small exercise. Every time something difficult happens, write 3 lines. What happened? What I can learn? How I will move forward? This turns pain into wisdom and chaos into direction. The more you do it, the faster your mind recovers from shocks. You stop reacting like a frightened child and start responding like a calm leader of your own life. Resilience doesn't mean pretending everything is fine. It means whispering, "I will be okay," even when you don't fully believe it yet. It's the choice to keep walking when your legs are tired and your heart is heavy. Remember the seed again, deep in the soil. It doesn't shout, "Why is it dark here?" It quietly grows roots. It waits for the rain. It trusts the process. That is resilience, silent, patient, powerful. And once this quiet strength becomes part of you, another gift appears, creativity. Because only a calm, resilient mind can start to see new possibilities where others see dead ends. And that creative way of thinking is the next key to solving any problem. When your heart becomes calm and resilient, your vision starts to change. You no longer see problems as walls. You begin to see them as puzzles, something to be studied, rearranged, and solved. This is where creativity enters. And creativity is not just for artists or inventors. It's the tool of every great problem solver. It's what turns confusion into clarity, what transforms "I can't" into "maybe I can if I try differently." You see, most people look at a problem and think only in straight lines. They say, "This is the rule. This is how it has always been." But creative thinkers ask, what if there's another way? They don't look for one answer. They look for many. They imagine, test, and combine. They treat problems like experiments, not prisons. Let's take a simple example. You lose your job. A fearful mind says, "I'm finished." But a creative mind asks, "What can I do with what I already know?" Maybe you start freelancing. Maybe you teach online. Maybe you learn a new skill that opens a better door. Creativity is born when fear relaxes and curiosity wakes up. Curiosity is the spark that feeds creativity. It's the child inside you asking why again and again until something new appears. When you become curious about your problems instead of scared of them, your brain starts to explore. It begins to notice patterns, connections, and possibilities that were invisible before. That's how great ideas are born, not from pressure, but from play. Here's a small practice to train this creative eye. When faced with a problem, write it down and challenge yourself to find 5 different ways to approach it. Not all will work, but that's not the point. The goal is to make your brain flexible. Maybe one idea is too strange, another too hard, another too simple. But as you explore, something interesting happens. Your fear turns into focus. You start thinking like an inventor, not a victim. Creativity doesn't always look magical. Often, it's quiet and practical. It's the mother who finds a new way to save money for her family. It's the student who studies with music because silence makes him tired. It's the worker who learns a faster way to finish his task. Creativity is simply the courage to do something differently. When you let your mind play with ideas, it becomes lighter. You laugh more. You breathe easier. You realize that every problem hides a secret gift, a lesson, a chance, or a doorway. Sometimes that doorway leads to a better version of your life than you imagined. Think of a river meeting a rock. The river doesn't stop or shout at the rock. It flows around it, over it, or through it, slowly shaping its path. That's creativity, gentle persistence guided by curiosity. You don't fight the obstacle. You find a new way through it. And the more creative you become, the more confident you feel. Because confidence doesn't come from knowing everything. It comes from trusting that you can figure things out. That trust, that deep faith in your ability to find a way, is the next secret of solving any problem. When creativity starts to flow through you, something even deeper begins to rise. Faith in yourself. It's not the loud kind of confidence that needs to prove anything. It's quiet, steady, and real. It comes from experience, from seeing that you've survived every hard day so far, from realizing that you don't need to have all the answers before you begin, because you can trust yourself to learn along the way. Most people don't fail because they're weak. They fail because they stop believing they can find a way. The mind becomes their biggest enemy. They say, "What if I'm not smart enough? What if I make a mistake? What if people laugh at me?" But every what if steals a little piece of your courage. You can't fight fear with more fear. You can only fight it with faith. Faith in action. Faith in your ability to adapt. Faith that even if you fall, you'll rise again. Self-faith doesn't mean you're sure of success. It means you're sure of yourself. It means that even when the road is dark, you know how to take one more step. That's all real strength is, one more step. Every time you take it, your belief grows stronger. Every time you doubt yourself and still move forward, your confidence becomes unbreakable. Here's something you can do every day to build that belief. At the end of each day, write down 3 small victories. Not big ones, small ones. I woke up on time. I didn't give up. I tried again. When you read them after a week, you'll see that progress was happening quietly, even on the days you felt stuck. Faith grows from proof, and those little proofs are everywhere if you look for them. Think about a bridge under construction. Every new piece added makes it stronger. Your confidence is built the same way. One experience, one mistake, one correction, one win. The more weight it carries, the steadier it becomes. Soon, it can handle any storm. And when you believe in yourself, your problems stop feeling like monsters. They become projects. You stop saying, "Why is this happening to me?" and start saying, "Let's see what I can do with this." That simple shift turns fear into focus. There will still be people who doubt you. There will still be moments when you doubt yourself. That's okay. Doubt is part of faith. It tests how strong your roots are. Just don't let doubt make your decisions. Feel it, face it, and move anyway. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is walking forward while fear whispers in your ear. You are stronger than you think. You have solved more than you remember. You have lived through things that once felt impossible. So the next time you face a problem, put your hand on your heart and say quietly, "I can handle this." Say it until your body believes it. Because once faith settles inside you, a new kind of clarity appears, not about the problem itself, but about your purpose. You start asking a deeper question, not "How do I fix this?" but "What is this trying to teach me?" And that question opens the door to the next level of wisdom. When faith takes root inside you, your relationship with problems begins to change again. You no longer see them as interruptions. You start to see them as teachers. Every problem arrives with a message, but most people never stop long enough to listen. They fight, they run, they blame, and the message stays unread. But if you slow down, breathe, and ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" the lesson reveals itself like sunlight through clouds. Every challenge, no matter how painful, hides growth inside it. Losing money might teach you responsibility. Losing someone might teach you love and appreciation. Failing at something might teach you patience and humility. Pain is a classroom, and life keeps giving you lessons until you learn them. Once you do, the same problem never returns in the same way. Let's imagine a young man who loses his job. At first, he's angry and afraid. He says, "This is unfair. Why me?" But then he asks, "What can I learn from this?" Slowly, he realizes that he never really liked his job. He stayed only out of fear. Losing it became the push he needed to create something new, something that matched his true interests. The problem became his direction. That's the hidden gift inside every difficulty. Try doing this after every hard situation. Write 3 lines. What happened? How I felt? What it's teaching me? It's simple, but it changes everything. Because when you write the lesson, your mind begins to close the emotional wound. It no longer feels like random suffering. It feels like training. And once you see life as training, every experience becomes useful. Sometimes the lesson isn't about doing more. It's about letting go of control, of old habits, of people who no longer belong in your story. Problems often appear to remove what's blocking your growth. Like pruning a tree, life cuts off certain branches not to hurt you, but to help you grow stronger in a new direction. The key is not to ask, "Why is this happening to me?" but, "What is this making me become?" That question transforms victims into warriors. You stop fighting the situation and start shaping yourself through it. Think of fire. It can burn you, or it can forge you. The same flame that destroys wood can strengthen steel. You decide which you'll be, burned or built. When you face problems with that mindset, your pain becomes purpose, your scars become symbols of survival. And here's the magic part. Once you begin to learn the lesson, the emotional weight of the problem starts to fade. You feel lighter, wiser, freer. The same thing that once scared you now feels like a teacher you finally understood. That is the true turning point, when your mind moves from reaction to reflection. And when reflection becomes a habit, it naturally leads to something even greater, action with meaning. The kind of action that isn't rushed or desperate, but focused, calm, and full of direction. Once you understand the lesson inside your problem, a quiet power begins to rise. You feel ready, not in a hurried way, but in a grounded way. You stop reacting and start acting. The difference is small in words, but enormous in life. Reaction is born from fear. Action is born from clarity. Reaction says, "I must escape this." Action says, "I can shape this." That's the shift that turns pain into progress. Meaningful action is not about doing everything at once. It's about doing the right thing with the right energy. It's the step you take after reflection, when your heart and mind finally agree on direction. You don't move because you're angry or desperate. You move because you've seen the path that matters. Let's say your problem is loneliness. You could distract yourself with noise, with endless scrolling, with people who make you feel even emptier. That's reaction. But if you sit quietly, listen to what the loneliness is teaching you, and then decide to reach out to one person, join one class, or speak one honest sentence, that's meaningful action. It may look small, but its power is enormous because it's guided by awareness, not impulse. Meaningful action also brings peace because it doesn't depend on fast results. You know you're doing what you can. You know every effort counts, even if you can't see progress yet. You plant seeds with patience, not panic. The old version of you wanted to control everything. The new version plants and trusts the process. Here's a practice. Before doing anything, pause for 5 seconds and ask yourself, is this action moving me toward healing or away from it? If it moves you closer, even by a little, do it. If it moves you away, let it go. This question is like a compass for your life. It keeps you moving in the right direction even when you can't see the full map. You can apply this to any situation. If your problem is health, take one conscious step. Drink more water, go for a short walk, rest properly. If it's work, learn one new skill or finish one small task today. If it's self-doubt, speak one kind sentence to yourself. You don't need to run, you just need to keep moving. When you act with meaning, something inside you heals. You begin to rebuild trust, not in luck, but in your own hands. You feel lighter because you are no longer waiting for someone else to fix things. You're building solutions piece by piece. Think of a sculptor shaping a statue. Every strike of his tool looks small, but slowly the form appears. That's what meaningful action does. It shapes your future one calm decision at a time. You stop fighting the marble and start revealing the masterpiece hidden inside it. The stronger, wiser you. And the more you live this way, the more you realize something extraordinary. The goal was never to live a life without problems. It was to live a life where problems can't control your peace. That inner peace, unshaken and quiet, is the next treasure waiting to be discovered. When you begin to act with calm purpose, a new state starts to appear, stillness. It's not silence on the outside, but peace on the inside. Problems still come, noise still exists, people still behave unpredictably, yet something inside you stays untouched. It's as if your heart has found a quiet center, a place where storms can't reach. This stillness is not weakness, it's strength in its most invisible form. It's the power of not reacting to every sound, every message, every opinion. It's the ability to pause before you speak, to breathe before you decide, to smile even when the situation tries to shake you. The world teaches speed, but wisdom teaches stillness. Because when your mind is calm, your decisions become clear. Imagine standing in front of a lake early in the morning. The surface is smooth like glass. You can see your reflection clearly. But if you throw a stone, the ripples distort your image. Life works the same way. When your thoughts are still, you see yourself, your path, and your solutions clearly. When you're full of fear, anger, or panic, the reflection becomes blurry, and you mistake emotion for truth. Stillness doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing everything from a calm place. When you answer someone, you choose your words carefully. When you face a problem, you respond slowly, not impulsively. You think, what would my wiser self do right now? And then you act. That small pause is where wisdom lives. Try this simple exercise. When you feel pressure rising, close your eyes and focus on your breath. Count slowly, 4 seconds in, 4 seconds out. Do it 10 times. While you breathe, imagine each exhale releasing the noise, the fear, the anger. Feel your shoulders drop. Feel your mind clearing. You are training your body to return to peace faster each time. As you practice stillness, you will notice something surprising. Problems don't disappear, but they start to lose their control over you. You can look at them without drowning in them. You can talk to people calmly, even when they're angry. You start to respond from wisdom, not from wounds. And that is a rare kind of freedom. Think of trees during a storm. Their branches swing wildly, but their roots stay deep and unmoved. Your stillness is those roots. It keeps you grounded while life dances around you. The beauty of stillness is that it creates space, space for new thoughts, new answers, new directions. When the noise goes quiet, creativity returns. Ideas that were hiding behind stress start to appear again. The solution you were forcing finally comes on its own. That's the secret. Many problems solve themselves when you stop fighting and start listening. Stillness doesn't just help you handle one challenge. It becomes a lifestyle. You begin to walk slower, speak softer, notice more. You start to see beauty in simple things, sunlight, a cup of tea, a kind word. Peace stops being something you chase and becomes something you are. And when that inner peace becomes stable, you discover the next natural step, connection. Because once you are peaceful inside, you start to bring peace to others. You begin to help them find their calm too. And that is the next quiet evolution of a true solver. When inner stillness takes root, something gentle awakens inside you, the wish to share it. You begin to see that everyone around you is fighting invisible battles. Some hide their pain behind smiles, others bury it under silence. You start to notice what you couldn't before: tired eyes, nervous hands, people speaking with anger that is really fear. And suddenly, you don't want to judge anymore. You want to understand. This is where connection begins. True connection is not about talking a lot. It's about listening deeply, with your full attention, with your whole heart. When you listen without interrupting, people start to heal. They feel seen. They feel safe. And in that space, you become more than a problem solver for yourself. You become a source of calm for others. Connection is a strange power. It multiplies peace. When you give understanding, you receive warmth in return. When you share your lessons, you remind yourself how far you've come. Problems that once felt heavy turn into stories that inspire someone else. The same pain that broke you becomes a bridge that connects you to another human being. Think about a candle. When it lights another candle, it doesn't lose its flame. It doubles the light. That's what happens when you share calmness, when you encourage someone else who's lost in their storm. Your peace grows stronger by giving it away. Sometimes, connection means helping through words. Sometimes, it's silence, sitting beside someone without trying to fix them. Because not every wound needs advice, some just need presence. A calm heart can heal another heart just by being there. You can practice this daily. The next time you meet someone struggling, don't rush to speak. Breathe, look into their eyes, and listen. Ask gently, "What's on your mind?" Then really hear their answer. Feel the rhythm of their words, the weight behind them. When you listen like that, you're not only helping them, you're strengthening your own empathy, your own humanity. Connection also means forgiveness. To others, yes, but also to yourself. You can't truly connect with the world if you still carry guilt and anger inside. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or pretending the hurt was okay. It means freeing yourself from the past so you can stand open to the present. It's saying, "I released this pain. It taught me what it needed to teach." When you forgive, the air inside you becomes lighter. And in that lightness, you find gratitude. You start noticing that even your problems brought gifts, growth, wisdom, patience, strength. You realize that every person you met, every challenge you faced, was part of your becoming. That gratitude deepens your connection even more. You stop feeling alone in the world because you see that everything is connected: people, pain, lessons, healing. It's all part of one great design. And once you live with this sense of connection, you begin to sense a quiet purpose forming underneath it, a reason why you went through all of it. Purpose doesn't arrive like thunder. It appears softly, through the doors that your struggles opened. And that quiet discovery is what comes next. When you begin to feel connected to people, to moments, to the rhythm of life, a gentle question rises inside you. Why am I here? Not in a heavy or desperate way, but in a curious, peaceful one. Purpose doesn't shout, it whispers. It grows from your experiences, from the lessons your pain taught you, from the compassion that now lives in your heart. For years, you may have searched for meaning in big things: success, money, fame, recognition. But the longer you live, the more you realize that purpose hides in small, simple acts. It's in the kindness you show, the work you do with love, the courage to help when no one is watching. Purpose isn't something you find once. It's something you build every day through choices that feel true. Look at the pattern of your life. Every struggle you faced shaped a strength. Every loss created space for understanding. Every problem trained a skill. When you put those pieces together, you'll see that life has been preparing you all along. What you once called pain was actually direction. The map was invisible, but it was there. For some, purpose might mean teaching, guiding, creating. For others, it may mean simply living honestly, raising a family with love, or spreading peace through words and actions. The form doesn't matter. What matters is that it gives you energy instead of draining it. When you move with purpose, even small tasks feel meaningful. Here's a way to explore it. Take a piece of paper and write 3 questions. What do I love doing even when it's hard? What pain have I overcome that I could help others with? What do I want the world to have more of because I was here? Your answers may not be perfect, but they'll point you toward the truth. Because purpose doesn't come from thinking, it comes from feeling. It's the quiet pull inside that says, this is right. When you start walking in that direction, life begins to align. The wrong things fade. The right people appear, opportunities open. You start waking up with more calm than confusion. Even when new problems come, you handle them differently, not as threats, but as reminders of your mission. Imagine a lighthouse standing on the edge of a cliff. Waves crash, winds howl, storms pass, yet the light stays steady. That's purpose, not avoiding storms, but shining through them so others can see their way. You are that lighthouse when you live from your truth. And here's the beauty of it. The more you live with purpose, the less you fear problems. Because you understand that they are part of your service, part of your growth, part of your path. Every challenge becomes a sculptor, shaping you closer to the person you were meant to become. This quiet realization doesn't end your journey, it deepens it. It brings you to the edge of something sacred, the feeling of gratitude not just for your victories, but for your battles too. And that feeling, warm and steady in your chest, is the next and most healing step of all. When purpose takes its place inside you, something soft begins to bloom, gratitude. It is not loud or dramatic. It doesn't need to be shouted from rooftops. It's a quiet warmth that fills your chest when you finally understand how far you've come. Gratitude is the moment you look at your life, with all its scars, mistakes, and messiness, and whisper, thank you. Gratitude doesn't mean everything is perfect. It means you can see the value in everything, even the things that once hurt. It's when you remember the nights you cried, the days you felt lost, and realize that each one built you. Gratitude transforms memory. It turns pain into strength, confusion into wisdom, and fear into faith. When you live with gratitude, problems lose their power to make you bitter. You start to notice small miracles again. The sunlight on your window, the laughter of a friend, the smell of rain, the fact that your heart still beats and your lungs still fill with air. You see that peace was never far away. It was hidden beneath the noise of wanting more. Try this simple habit before you sleep each night. Think of 3 things you're grateful for. They don't need to be big. Even I survived today is enough. When you do this regularly, your brain begins to focus on abundance instead of absence. You stop saying, I have nothing, and start realizing, I already have enough. That small shift changes your whole emotional world. Gratitude is also a kind of wisdom. It teaches you to stop waiting for happiness to arrive after success. It reminds you that happiness is not a destination. It's the way you walk the road. You can be grateful while working, learning, growing. You can feel peace even in progress. Think about how gratitude affects your relationships. When you thank people sincerely for being in your life, something magical happens. Their hearts soften, connection deepens. And when you start thanking yourself for trying, for enduring, for learning, the war inside your mind begins to end. You realize you were never your enemy. You were just growing. Gratitude also makes you generous. The more thankful you feel, the more you want to share your time, your care, your presence. You stop asking, "What can I get?" and start asking, "What can I give?" And in giving, you find even more joy. Because gratitude and generosity are two sides of the same golden coin. Imagine standing on a mountain after a long, difficult climb. You're tired, maybe bruised, but when you look around, the view takes your breath away. The climb was hard, yes, but you wouldn't trade it, because it made you who you are. That's gratitude. The quiet smile you wear when you realize the struggle was worth it. And when you live like this, filled with quiet appreciation for everything that shaped you, something even deeper awakens: love. Not just for others, but for life itself. And that love, gentle and strong, is the final stage of solving any problem. When gratitude fills your heart, it naturally opens into love. Not the kind of love that depends on someone else, but the kind that flows quietly through everything you do. It's love as awareness, as respect, as gentle presence. You begin to love life itself, with all its imperfections. You love the journey that shaped you, the lessons that changed you, the people who crossed your path, even the ones who hurt you, because each of them was part of your becoming. This love is different from romance or excitement. It's peace in motion. It's waking up and saying, "I'm thankful to be here," even when nothing extraordinary happens. It's feeling kindness toward yourself after a mistake instead of punishment. It's looking at someone else's pain and thinking, "I've been there too," instead of judging. Love like this turns understanding into a daily habit. When you live from love, you stop trying to win against life. You start to dance with it. Every challenge becomes a partner that teaches you new moves, patience, strength, forgiveness. You stop asking, "When will life get easier?" and start asking, "How can I grow through this with grace?" Problems still appear, but they don't take your peace away. You carry your calm wherever you go, like light in a lantern that never burns out. Love also makes you humble. You realize everyone is learning, everyone is carrying something invisible. The angry man, the impatient teacher, the tired parent. Each is fighting a private storm. When you see that, compassion replaces judgment. You speak softer. You listen longer. You understand that kindness is never wasted, even when it goes unnoticed. There is also another kind of love, the one you give to yourself. It's not pride, it's care. It's looking in the mirror and saying, "You did your best today." It's allowing rest without guilt, change without shame, and progress without perfection. Because when you love yourself honestly, you stop needing approval from the world. You become whole on your own. Here's a practice for this kind of love. When you feel anxious or lost, place your hand on your heart and whisper, "I am safe. I am learning. I am enough." It may sound simple, but the body listens. The heart remembers. This sentence becomes your anchor when the world feels heavy. And that's where everything connects: the calm, the clarity, the small steps, the resilience, the gratitude. They were never separate. They were all leading here, to this understanding. Problems are not curses. They are invitations. Each one arrives to teach you how to love deeper, yourself, others, and life itself. So now, when another challenge comes, and it will, you'll greet it differently. You'll breathe, listen, learn, act, and trust. You'll remember that nothing is truly against you when you stand with love. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are not behind. You are growing at the perfect speed for your story. And every time you face a problem with calm eyes and an open heart, you are solving far more than a situation. You are shaping a soul. I'm proud of you for walking this far, for choosing peace over panic, growth over fear, love over resistance. Keep going. Keep breathing. Keep believing. This is your life, not free from problems, but full of power. And you are ready for all of it.